Welcome to Epilogue Podcast, the show where we discuss some stuff that happened on a different show ages ago which nobody really cares about anymore.
Hi, I'm Portponky.
And I'm LeBloc.
Today we're discussing Deep Space Nine, Season 5, Episode 23, Blaze of Glory. Cisco recruits Michael Eddington to track down and stop a Maquis missile attack on Cardassia.
That turns out to be made up.
Yep, they didn't think of that. Which is fair, because why would they?
It was plausible, so they went with it.
So this concludes the Eddington storyline, I guess.
There could be time travel shenanigans, but for the most part, yes.
And I guess that's the Maquis fairly wrapped up as well. So, in potentially the conclusion of this plotline, what's your feeling for this episode and that plotline?
The end of that plotline couldn't have come sooner.
Okay, was this a fitting end?
Sure, I enjoyed Eddington and Cisco bouncing off each other like a buddy cop movie where you have the unlikely pairing on an adventure. Eddington dies the hero he wanted to be. Although, when he says perfect time for a song, I really wanted him to start singing something from Les Mis.
Yes. He dreamed a dream of time gone by. I don't know the lyrics. I actually really liked Eddington's character in this episode. It's kind of noticeable that he's never really been the same character twice. He was a random security guy when he was introduced, and then he was a secret undercover operative for the Maquis, and then he was kind of like Robin Hood. And then this one, he's got like a death wish. He wants to martyr himself, and later on, Eddington I find a lot more enjoyable, using a lot of double crossing and tricks and kind of some sort of genius level tactical planning that was totally not apparent early on.
I like Eddington a lot and how they experimented with his character, but I don't like the Maquis at all.
That was the problem. They are hard to care about. Eddington gave them the best shot they had for gaining any viewer sympathy, in my opinion, but still they fall short. The end of this episode where Eddington dies is very similar to another episode, a session where he takes the other emissary into the wormhole and comes back alone. Here, him and Eddington stay behind, known enemies, both wanting the other one imprisoned or dead or whatnot. And then he comes back alone. That makes it a bit silly, because I don't know why his wife would just say, "Oh, is my husband dead? Oh, okay. I'm very sad about that."
I guess I'll take your word for it, even though 5 minutes ago we revealed we tricked you into this dangerous mission.
And he punched him square in the face. Right in front of her. I think I would have liked it a lot more if Cisco had been shot.
And died?
Well, God, that would have been crazy. And probably not good for this show. But no, if he'd been okay. If Eddington had stayed behind to make sure Cisco lived.
Oh, that would be sweet.
Because that would have stung worse than anything for Cisco. This guy's been tricking him at every turn, and in the end, Cisco can't even make it out alive without his help.
Another blow to his ego. I really like that conversation about ego, that it was maintaining that ego driving Cisco's actions. And Eddington was also driven by ego and how they're clashing. I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, they had chemistry. I don't mean romantic chemistry, although I'm sure if you look on the internet, you can find that. They had a real feeling of rivalry going on because Cisco does have a huge ego and he is really controlling. Well, not to a level that's damaging, but he is the captain of a huge space station and he uses that to further himself and the station and the Federation.
They have a lot in common, more than they want to admit.
Well, they both love Les Mis. There was a really strange bit where Cisco is trying to guilt trip Eddington, and he says this genocidal attack will be your legacy, paraphrasing. And Eddington looks kind of like upset about it.
Wouldn't you be upset?
Well, no, because we know he knows that it's not true.
He couldn't risk revealing that yet.
He wasn't facing Cisco, he's facing away. He didn't need to do face acting.
He's that good at playing a role.
But he wasn't convinced by that argument anyway, so it made no sense for that argument to start having an effect, even if the effect was faked.
This was lost on me because I didn't know at that point that it was faked, so I didn't pick up on that.
Well, I guess it's put in there because they don't want to give the ruse away. It's just odd knowing that he's totally faking it, but he's still got a slightly pained and anguished look on his face for a moment. For no reason.
He has a tummy ache from the replicated food.
Maybe he was just thinking, oh, what if someone does launch a genocidal missile attack on Cardassian? I'm going to get the blame for it.
It could coincide, and he could be unlucky, and it would all fall on him.
They can't decide if replicated food is good or bad.
It's good for you, but tastes bad.
But does it taste bad? In previous episodes, they've said that there's not much difference between real food and replicated food. Like, well, some say the real stuff is better, but, you know.
I think we're meant to see it as the people who eat it all the time have become accustomed to it, and that's their normal. But it does not taste as good as real food.
That sounds like a cop-out. There's just people being pretentious about food.
People are pretentious about food now. I could see that carrying.
Oh, yeah,
over.
I could totally see it happening.
Eddington even has his little rant. It made me think of the stuff people rant about now. Forsaking modern conveniences and glorifying the good old days.
Just today, I heard someone complaining that ebook readers are not as good as real books.
Oh, I love my Kindle.
Yeah, they're... Okay, books have a certain allure, but really, ebook readers are fantastically better than books individually.
I love the feel of a dead tree in my hands, but my Kindle allows my Kindle allows me to beam any book available on Amazon among thousands. It's on millions. My Kindle. Yeah, millions. Not even way more than thousands.
Underestimate.
Dozens. A handful. No, millions. to choose from at any time of the day. Within seconds, it's on my device, and I can read it in the dark without another light because it's backlit. It's amazing.
Yeah, as someone with arthritis, some books are really annoying to read,
Oh, yeah.
especially if they're heavy. I can't hold them up for too long. I mean, it's not because they're heavy; it's because my joints give out.
And unless you're in the exact middle of the book, it's not convenient to
Oh,
hold.
it doesn't balance.
You can adjust the size. It's beautiful. I love it. Write notes.
Delete books if you don't like them. You don't have to set fire to anything.
This podcast brought to you by ebooks. Not really, but I would totally endorse ebooks.
People will get this one confused with the other Epilogue podcast now, the one that's actually about books. So, moving back to replicators, yeah, okay, fair enough. You've completely justified everything Eddington said.
He's just a hipster.
He's the hipsteriest hipster martyr.
He purposefully wears tattered clothing. He refuses to eat anything but organic food. Well, I mean, that's not a hipster thing, but still.
Taken in context, it's clearly part of the package. But yeah, hold on. He was wearing his scuffed up jacket that he got arrested in. Where's his prisoner outfit?
He traded some cigarettes for his jacket.
For his original clothes?
Yes.
It makes no sense. Actually, the prison made no sense. Why did he just have a force field? So they arrested him, threw him in a cell, and then there was a force field there with two guys standing outside. Presumably, that's just when Cisco is visiting. But why would they not have bars?
Which can never be turned off.
Well, bars certainly work if there's a power cut.
Yeah.
And
but they're not as cool.
They're actually cooler from a cinematic point of view. The force fields are really rubbish, I think. Well, they're cool, sci-fi cool, but you don't get a feeling of imprisonment from them.
Right, there's no sense of, oh, I'm trapped here. Kind of looks like, hey, look at that neat thing there.
It would be cool if he was bouncing a ball off the force field, like in The Great Escape.
And he has a tunnel behind a poster.
Yeah, tunneling out of a space station. That's going to go well.
I didn't say he was bright.
Well, I don't know. His intelligence significantly jumps every time he appears on the show.
He could have survived. We didn't see a body.
Oh, you're getting into Farscape territory now. They're only dead when you see their head on a stick. He was surrounded by Jem'Hadar guys and shot a whole bunch of times in the body.
He's crafty. He could have figured something out.
Yep.
A saber bear is most deadly when it is trapped with no hope of escape.
Well, yes. He's clearly no saber bear because he was fairly useless. He was actually most deadly when some guy was hitting his attackers with a pipe.
I liked his logic for figuring out who to shoot.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Although the Jem'Hadar could have killed Cisco standing.
Yes.
Taken his head clean off. But, well, that's even more reason to shoot him.
Save his own hide.
Cisco managed to shoot the only two invisible Jem'Hadar guys during the only point at which he tried to shoot invisible Jem'Hadar guys.
He's incredibly lucky.
He's incredibly psychic.
Comes with the territory when you're the emissary.
I don't know why they didn't have more invisible Jem'Hadar. Probably because the effect is expensive. Also, I guess they can't really patrol whilst invisible, or they would just sort of bump into each other. Can they see each other?
Nope.
Okay, then it makes sense that only ones guarding areas would be invisible.
They do seem coordinated when they reappear.
Yeah, they always reappear in the surrounding group, but they are born and bred warriors, so they probably have all sorts of attack patterns and stuff. But maybe just the ones that actually managed to get there uncloak. There's tons of them that have crashed into each other and fallen down. But we don't see them because they're invisible.
They sure did leave a lot of dead bodies on the ground.
Well, where else are they going to leave them?
In the dumpster? Out back?
Oh, no, come on. The council's not going to collect that. They're going to have to pay a surcharge for that kind of collection. Plus, they need to sort them. Their like clothes would need to go in the recycling.
It made it considerably less bleak that we ran into survivors eventually. I was glad for that, because that corridor was loaded with dead people.
Eddington didn't seem that genuinely upset about it. He seems more like it was damaging his track record.
He had the McKee on the mind.
Yeah, I guess this is just part of the McKee being a bit of a non-entity. So, oh no, a lot of McKee have died. Well, no one really cares, even the leader of the McKee.
That's how little they mattered.
Does the phrase needle in a haystack mean anything to you?
Yes, because I live now, and that's a common phrase. And I guess it stays common because Dax knew it.
Yeah, but especially the way she phrased it as a question, I was prepared for someone else to say, no, that means absolutely nothing to me.
What is hay? What are you talking about?
Do they even still have needles?
It was the perfect opportunity to point out how sometimes this stuff won't translate. Something we have made fun of numerous times in the past, but yet again we have someone saying something and everyone understands.
I don't think you need to know what needles or haystacks are particularly for this idiom to work. You just need to know what it means. So I could imagine it surviving and spreading to other cultures, but it's a cliche line anyway. You don't need to bring up a cliche that's a bit out of time to explain that missiles are hard to find. Invisible missiles are hard to find in space.
Invisible missiles that leave no trace in space.
In the vast emptiness of space.
We get it. You don't need an idiom to drive that point home.
There was a B plot.
There was, yes.
With Nog and everyone's favourite character, well, I like him anyway, General Martok and Jake. I felt this B plot was kind of just goofy, but when Nog stood up to General Martok, that was nice.
I liked that moment, but none of the other moments. I was confused when he fell and then refused to get up until everyone left. I didn't understand that.
Because he's embarrassed. And when people are embarrassed, they act in a ridiculous manner.
Okay. How does remaining on the floor reduce your embarrassment? Or I don't get it.
It prevents bear attacks. When I said this B plot was goofy, that's kind of part of the reason. These sort of jokes. Oh, I'm lying on the floor. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. I'm not gonna get up. Is that even a joke? It's not funny.
Maybe it's a Ferengi thing. A Ferengi custom.
Maybe he just had really bad head trauma.
I
Oh, my
don't want
brain's
anyone
coming
to
out.
see I'm bleeding.
Wait till everyone's gone and then go to the infirmary and get the beamer thing that glues people's brains back together. I have a very small piece of trivia.
Go for it.
So the missile launch site, it seems like it's in the cave set at first, and you think, of course, where else would it be but the cave set? But then it turns into a little kind of base. Did you recognize it?
No, I didn't.
It was in the previous episode.
Ah,
It's the village from Children of Time.
wow, really?
With just the lights off.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I had no idea. I saw that on the wiki.
Even back to back, I didn't catch on to that.
Yeah, even after numerous viewings, I didn't know until it's went on the wiki and went back to look at the episode and said, "Ah." Do you have a eulogy for the Marquis in the form of a quote from this show?
There's something attractive about a lost cause, aka the underdog.
Yeah, for a moment, Eddington maybe managed to sell the Marquis as kind of an alright party. There's a difference between a lost cause and an underdog, though.
Yeah, they're not completely synonymous, but kind of similar.
The trouble is, the Marquis were a lost cause from the start, because it's hard to care about an enemy that doesn't make that much sense.
Without that motivation in place, you simply think, well, why are they doing this? Why is this happening? Not very compelling.
Not at all. So, I don't begrudge the Marquis. They tried to add in extra groups with differing motives to the Federation. But at the same time, I'm kind of glad that the Marquis storyline ends here. Although it was left suspiciously open because the Marquis are used in Star Trek Voyager.
Ugh.
So they didn't want to say, oh, no, yeah, they are all dead.
I like that the Maquis made it so it's not just one side versus another side, and that there are competing ideals. That's cool. I didn't enjoy the execution so much with the Maquis, and so I too am glad they met their demise.
If they tied them into the Bajoran occupation somehow, or at least sympathetically, then maybe that would have given them some gravity. Oh well, they missed that chance. That train has sailed.
Did you say that train has sailed?
Yeah, it's from Austin Powers.
Okay. Goodbye, train.
Also, goodbye this episode. Hello, next episode.
Yes. Hello, next episode.
Hello.